What's going on, grappling fans?
First, I wonder if you know to stay mentally in the game.
We're just all our matches have been pretty close.
Who's number one? Hey, what's going on, grappling fans? Welcome back. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Who's Number One, episode number 43. In the middle of a star-studded week, we've had some amazing guests, and today are no different. They were equally impressive. We have Andre Galvao and JT Torres calling in. Fellas, how you guys doing today? Andre, what's life like?
Oh man, I'm doing great. So, just a little sad, you know. I miss my student, I miss everyone. Just enjoying the family. Still working hard, you know. Still working a lot online, and just try to be patient right now at this moment.
I think that's the key. JT, how you holding up over there?
I'm in the same boat, you know, just kind of getting used to this this new way of life we find ourselves in now, where I'm kind of stuck at home all day, every day, but I'm still trying to stay busy. I'm holding online classes for my students. I'm doing a lot of prior lessons through through the internet now. So I'm trying to stay busy, trying to stay active. I actually just got some mats in my second bedroom too, so I've been drilling and sparring a lot with my fiance. She doesn't like it so much, but
she's gonna be good, man. She's gonna get real good.
She's gonna get really good. Yeah, she's gonna get really good. So staying busy though, staying busy.
That's awesome. You know, I feel like we had you guys on pretty early in the series as far as the quarantine time, and we've kind of adapted to a new normal maybe. Has your routine become more standardized? I feel like we were still figuring it out the first time we talked, but have you guys adopted a new daily routine, a new way of life?
JT, you getting any better at Madden over there?
Yeah, and the gaming.
I've gotten slightly better, and then I ventured off to start playing online, and then I found some guys that are really good online. I got really frustrated, and I took it off. I'm back on Call of Duty right now.
You're going to have to link up with Felipe Pena on Call of Duty. He's been playing that too, apparently.
Yeah. I'll look him up.
Andre, you been playing any video games?
No, I'm not playing right now. But when I play Street Fighter. I'm pretty good on Street Fighter.
I was going to say, I remember the clip from Inside Atlas where you're talking about learning the moves for Street Fighter and drilling, just like you drill Jiu-jitsu.
What character do you like in Street Fighter?
Oh man, I love Ken.
Yeah, the American guy. Yeah, with the cut off.
Ken, yeah.
The gi with the sleeves cut off. Yeah.
Yeah. I love Ken.
I'm surprised you play as Ken. I always used to play as Ryu, who's basically like the same thing. He just looks different.
Evil twins.
Yeah, more like Hadouken. Ken is a more short Hadouken. Yeah.
What are you guys doing to stay in shape right now? What about JT? What are you doing? You doing any workouts or anything right now?
I am. So I have a really good coach who, he's always on me to stay in shape and continue to work out, Coach John. And this past quarantine, for the past month now, we kind of linked up, and he asked me, okay, what do you have at your house? Like, what do you have? What kind of equipment? So I got a weighted jump rope, got some bands, I got a couple dumbbells. So he sent like a whole sheet of different workouts I can do, and they're tough, man. They're tough. They're definitely a little bit lighter on the weight side, but it's more of a cardio push. So it's an hour-long workout I've been doing 3 times a week, just to try to stay in shape. It's been keeping me in shape, and then on top of that, drilling, rolling around with my fiance. So yeah, I'm trying to stay on the schedule. I think that's what's really important about this whole quarantine thing. So you got to stay on a schedule. It's really easy to get lazy and just become a couch potato. So I even wrote down like a schedule for myself that I try to follow every day. I got something to do, and I think that's the easiest way and the best way to get through these times. Staying on a schedule, and it'll help make the time pass by a lot smoother.
Andre, what about you? What have you been up
to? Because you're obviously very super disciplined with your fitness and health and everything. What are you doing to stay in shape right now? You have weights in your garage, don't you?
Yeah. I have a gym here in my garage. We have a good sized mats here. We have mats, and I train my daughter. We drill, and I teach her some jiu-jitsu right now. I'm teaching her when the days I'm free, and then I lift weights. Like every other day, not every day. And then I do like heavy weights one day, and then I do like some light weights like the other day. And Angelica, my wife, she's training every single day. Every day she's lifting weights. she looks really really good right now. Like she looks really fit. And I go in the morning at the gym too, and then sometimes I want to teach the techniques fresh. I don't want to be like burned out because when I lift weights, I lift really really heavy. So I try to lift weights so every night in the mornings I teach online.
How old is your daughter now? She's won some like kids pans or something, right? She's won some kids competitions, I believe, correct?
Yeah, she did. She did. She's doing really really good actually. Like I'm teaching her a lot of no gi. She loves no gi. She's really really good, and I think she'll be a great champion. Not putting any pressure, but she likes to compete. She likes jiu-jitsu. She likes what she does, and she's doing really really well. When I teach, she learns really fast. She has a good pressure, and she's flexible. She's very flexible because she did gymnastics before, so she's pretty flexible. She has a really good coordination. She's 14. She's gonna be 14 soon in July. She's 13 right now.
JT, what else you doing to kill time over there, JT? Besides working out, you said you played some COD. You were playing Madden before. You like watching movies or anything over there? What do you got going on?
Yeah, I just actually finished watching the McMillions it's on Hulu. I think it's also on Netflix too. Not sure, but I just finished watching McMillions, which basically the scandal during the 90s where these people were basically scamming the McDonald's Monopoly game, and they stole millions of dollars. They were stealing like the $1 million winning game pieces and selling them away, or just cashing them in themselves. So it's pretty interesting to watch that. So yeah, just been watching a bunch of different documentaries and shows and movies, but that's the last one I just watched, and it was pretty interesting.
Where's it on Netflix?
I
I
watched it on Hulu.
Yeah,
I gotta check that out. Yeah.
I watched it. It's crazy because I'm a '90s kid. I grew up
Yeah,
playing that
my
game
mom
and
used to
stuff.
collect those things hardcore. Yeah.
And it blew me away. It's like one family too. There's other people involved, but there's like one family that has like a bulk of the responsibility. It's a wild
Oh, those
series.
dirty rats! We're all trying to win $1 million, and they're stealing them all.
You know what? The craziest part about that show is that all the winners, all the $1 million winners, were like in one, like South Carolina and Atlanta, like one section of the country, which no one put together. In the
You think
beginning,
it
no
raised some
one put,
red flags, right?
Yeah, they made it too obvious.
Right, exactly.
Do you watch that? You watch that Tiger King thing, JT?
Oh yeah, of course. I watched that like 2-3 weeks ago, and I mean that whole thing was just wild, man. I wasn't sure what to expect when I first started the show, and it's like how they say it's like a train wreck where you don't want to look, but you can't stop yourself from looking. And that's basically what the whole show was to me, man. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe this is an actual true story. And
These people exist.
These people exist, man. It's insane. It's insane. But I'm an animal lover too, so it kind of hurt my feelings when I saw tigers locked up like that and things like that. But crazy show, man. I enjoyed it.
They have something coming. I'm really looking forward to. I think ESPN is making like a 10-part series on Michael Jordan that's coming out next week or something. It's going to be pretty. Yeah, I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago in the '90s, so that's going to be my jam right there. What about you, Andre? What are you up to? What are you doing to kill time? I know you're a big reader. You reading a lot over there, or watching shows? What are you doing?
Yeah, I still reading. I read every day, and then I watch a lot of Michael Jordan's highlights and documentaries about him. Actually, even before this whole thing coming up.
Nice.
Even my daughter, like, since Kobe died, like, you're always watching basketball, But I remember when I was a little kid, I used to play basketball, and I really love to watch Michael Jordan. And every time I watch him, I have no doubt that he's the greatest of all time, So he's the best. It's amazing, to see, like, his career, to watch, like, the way he used to play, the passion that he has for the sport. I really like to watch that. And sometimes I watch things with my daughter too. And we're watching like The Simpsons, together.
Nice.
All the seasons.
Can't go wrong with The Simpsons.
Nice.
Yeah.
Something that people at home are really interested in, as you guys know, you guys both have students. There's so many people who are, stuck with nowhere to train. And a lot of people don't have mats, or they can't go to their gym or whatever. What would be a way that you would recommend that, like, I don't know, like a blue belt at home watching this, like, how they can get better during this time without going into the gym? Maybe Andre, you could kick it off.
Yeah, I think they need to find a way to training, right? So you need to improve right now. So if you don't have mats, if your house has a carpet, it's already your mat, So the carpet's way better than the hard flooring. So if you have like a grass, you train in the grass. Like if you have a little, you cannot go to the parks, and all that. But if you have like an area that you can take the furniture away a little bit and then just like drill, slowly, and you can purchase like weights, to do like a little circuit training. If you don't have like the money to buy the weights, you can like use water bottles, things like that. So you got to improve, and I suggest people like to do like circuit training, body weight circuit training. I like the Tabata system where you go like 20 seconds active, 10 seconds break. You do that like for half an hour, no stop, if you don't have a partner. Because a lot of people, they don't have a partner. And now is an opportunity for you to teach those who leaves it to you, show them the art of jiu-jitsu, show jiu-jitsu. So I think like it's a time for them like to teach people. If you're a good blue belt, purple belt, like introduce jiu-jitsu in a good way for your wife or your daughter or your son. I think now it's time. It's a great way to kill the time and also to get the family together. And once people like pass this quarantine, hopefully like when things get back to normal, we can have more people like training jiu-jitsu. I think now is the time, and that's my suggestion. If you have a partner, just drill as much as you can, and do conditioning. It's hard to roll, if you don't have mats at home. It's really hard to roll. But maybe you can do like hand fight, a lot of gi pull-ups, like, find a ways to improve, always ways to improve and keep the schedule, all the time. Like at this time, 9 o'clock in the morning, I'll do this, and 6 p.m. I'll do that. So you got to have like, I feel like people, they're lost, and sometimes every day they do something different, or they stay awake all night. They sleep like 5 a.m. and wake up like 1 p.m. So I don't think this is healthy. You need to keep the schedule, especially like when things go back to normal. Your body needs to be ready, for the training and the normal schedule again. So I think it's not healthy to sleep late and wake up late. So I think you need to keep a normal, life.
Yeah, normal routine. Andre, we had somebody in the Facebook comments just ask a good question. What are you reading right now? What books are you reading right now?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, my the book you mean?
Yeah, somebody in the Facebook just asked, what are you reading right now? What book are you on right now?
Oh, sorry. I thought you say like what is my weight?
Oh, no. We wouldn't ask that question.
No, sorry. Yeah, sorry. No, I'm reading. I read the Bible a lot. I like to read the Bible. It's my favorite book, and I'm reading like the Think and Grow Rich. I read like every other time, and I'm reading another one like from Pastor Miles Murdoch, and he talks about like the prayers. I read books related to the Bible. Every time that I'm reading, and I like that, and I enjoy that. It feels like feed my spirit. And if I read something, I don't like to read like fiction. I don't like to read like stories like that. So I prefer to read like things that feed my spirit. Like that's what I read.
All right, JT, would you add anything to what Andre was saying before about how people with nowhere to train right now who are stuck at home can get better, at home right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Studying is huge, man. That's something I used to do all throughout my lower belt times when I was blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, when I was able to train only 2-3 times a week. But now, obviously, no one's able to train at all for the most part. But now's the perfect time for you guys to study footage, man. That's something I highly recommend, something that I'm doing right now myself. Usually when I'm training pre-COVID-19, I'm training, teaching, lifting, running every day. I don't really have any other time. I don't really have time for anything else. Where now I have time to sit down and actually study, other games, other techniques, other positions, past, future opponents. Study a lot of footage, man. That's something I would highly recommend. I like studying competition footage. I think that works out really well, so you can see, some of your favorite athletes or some of the athletes that you have a game similar to. You can watch them perform techniques on a high level, so you can study, see how they do it, grab their instructional, break down their techniques even further. Footage and studying a lot.
JT, that comes up a lot. A lot of people say studying film, studying footage, but I found that there is like a process that is better than others as far as studying tape. Do you have a way that you like to do it? One that you kind of mentioned there is I love watching a guy compete and watch his comp footage and then seeing if they have an instructional and relating how they teach the move to when they hit it in competition. You can see sort of how they deal with those real-time challenges that come up in a fight. Do you do anything like that, or how do you watch tape, or how do you study somebody?
So if it was something I wanted to learn, right? So let's say I'm watching a certain athlete who's known for something that they do really well. I'll go back and watch matches of theirs where they perform that technique, and I'll try to break down how they do it against another high-level athlete. And I'll watch that match over and over again. You know, I won't necessarily watch 30, 40 matches. Maybe I'll watch 1 or 2 matches and just watch that one clip over and over again where they're performing that one technique I'm looking for. And then once I've seen it 1,000 times, watched it, trying to break it down as much as I could, then I'll look up, see if they have an instructional or not. Because nowadays there's so many instructionals out there on the market, right? So, you know, for someone who's still piecing together their game, they may not know what they want to grab to add to their game. So maybe what I would recommend is look for someone that you think you can, you can base your game off, and then study their competition footage, and then look for an instructional. And then as far as opponents, if I was to study opponents for a tournament or a super fight, I try to watch obviously what they're good at, right? I want to know what they're good at. I want to know when we compete what most likely they're going to try to attack with, right? And then basically what I'm doing, I'm going to try to study and make an equation of how I can counter that or implement my game before they can put theirs on the line first, right? So that's the way I like to study. That's the way I like to break it down. But yeah, studying is key.
Maybe that leads in nicely to something I wanted to talk about with you guys today. Going back before you guys were, stars, when you were blue belts, purple belts, or whatever. Who were some people that you guys looked up to that maybe the older black belts that you used to watch, maybe that you based part of your game off of? Maybe Andre, you can go first.
Man, I used to watch a lot of Vitor Shaolin Ribeiro.
Oh, nice.
I remember I was a white belt, white to blue belt, and he was already like black belt. And one time I saw him fighting in a tournament that I compete. And I remember like seeing him moving, the way he was moving, the way he was passing the guard. I was like, oh my God, this guy's really good. I want to be like him. So I told him that before. I mentioned that in my book as well, Drill to Win. Also, I used to watch a lot of Terere, Terere is amazing athlete, in my opinion. The greatest of all time, in the 4 lines with the gi. Amazing. And I used to watch and I end up like training with him, and when I start training with him, and then that's when I start like knowing jiu-jitsu, like the real like technique side of jiu-jitsu. And I feel like really blessed, like training with him. He's amazing. Those are the guys that I used to watch. And plus like other guys, like old school, like because when I started was back in the 90 something, right? 98, 99, when that was the year that I came back, and then all these guys. And I remember like I used to watch a lot of Margarita as well, Fernando Margarita. Maybe a lot of people don't know him, but he was insane. Back in the day, he won the world title back in 2002 or 2001. I think 2001 was the first wars that I competed, and I saw him as a black belt destroying So those were the guys that I used to look up to a lot, like, fighting wise.
Everybody who comes on here says Margarita. Buchecha said Margarita. Hamilo said Margarita. Lepre said Margarita. Everybody lists Margarita.
Yeah, you know why? Because he had such an open game, He used to play everything. He was good in everything. Like, he used to do takedowns. If the guy pull guard, he pass the guard. If he play guard, he could play guard. He could pull guard. He could do anything. And he used to, like, fight against really good guys, and he used to, like, score a lot of points, like, so easy, and end up, like, submitting people. So he was, like, a submission hunter and it was really impressed. And I think he was, like, the guy that came and show everyone that you can be like a well-rounded competitor, just like today as well.
I've been rewatching all the old ADCCs because I'm doing these articles about like just the history of like who had the best runs by weight. And right now I'm on 77 kilos. And I watched 98, 99, 2000, the 77 kilogram bracket. And when you got to Shaolin versus Leo in 2000, it was crazy. Like just in like 2 years from like when they started in 98 till you get to Shaolin versus Leo, it's like, man, these guys got such high level. It was such a dynamic style of jiu-jitsu from both of them.
Yeah, Leo was very acrobatic as well. He used to jump side to side and do like little like cartwheels and things like that. Kind of like cool to watch him. And his brother too, Ricardo, was amazing as well. Great competitors, great technique. It was really fun to watch these guys, and it was different. Jiu-jitsu was really different before, and it's kind of like like sometimes I miss those times, to go out there and then watch those guys competing, and unfortunately, like most of them don't compete at Masters Wars,
Shaolin does sometimes. Shaolin showing up a couple times.
Does, yes.
Yeah. So, what was Terra Ray like as an instructor? Obviously, everybody knows about him as a competitor, but when you were his, when Lepre was here, he was saying you guys trained there when you were like purple belts or something under Terra Ray. What was it like coming up as a purple and brown belt under Terra Ray? What was that like?
Man, it was amazing. Like Terra Ray, he was such a great person. He helped so many people. Super open. His heart is huge, open mind to learn as well. That's why his style was amazing, like standing up, passing guard, playing guard, doing like, I think the beginning of leg drags and killing the hips and all that came from him. The way to do the knee slices, the long step pass, the sit up guard, the hooks guard. Back in the day, people used to play a lot of hooks guard, spider guard, and everything. He was complete, and his judo was insane. And, he could answer all your questions, like easy, no problem. And, I remember like he used to teach privates for me and his cousin every single day, pretty much like every single day, Monday to Friday. We used to like have 45 minutes together. We used to leave right at the last flooring of the gym, the gym at the building. And then we leave in the sixth floor, and the gym used to be in the second floor. And we used to go downstairs and just like anytime open the gym and then start like training and learning. And he was like teaching everything. And the way he was teaching always was like giving advices in some positions that were like make a mistake. He had like a theme, and then like he put like a specific training from that situation. Like we used to do a lot of situational sparring. And I was purple belt back then, and his cousin was a purple belt as well. I believe Lucas was blue belt. When I was brown belt, Lucas was purple. And we used to like train like from Sunday to Sunday, and it was amazing. I learned a lot with him, and like the way he shows you things, he gives you an example, and he's really funny, really, really funny. And sometimes he say things to you that you never forget, the way you say it. For example, like he's like, I grab his head and then put pressure on his shoulder using my tiptoes on the mat, and now the only thing that this guy can do, like on bottom, is moving his eyes, so the pressure needs to be like that. And then sometimes like he's like, oh, you just wait here and you don't take the mosquitoes out of his butt, like just, don't move in this situation, just wait, like don't make any noise, like just be quiet here. And then when you change the speed, you change the speed. He was like, he has those like little things, that those quotes, like it was really, really funny, very, very creative all the time. And I remember he used to play with the lapel as well. He used to step the foot on the lapel back then, He used to call TT Delta the guard, because he used to like do a spider guard, like stepping the foot on the lapels. Man, he was insane, and great competitor, great person, and a great instructor too, and great leader as well. Great leader, because he used to tell you the things like right in your face, like pow, just like that. He didn't care like if you like or not. He was very special, man. Very special. He's still special.
Did you check out the show that Hal and Ricardo just did? They just did like a show called Old School. It was about Terra. Did you see that thing?
Yeah, I saw like just like a little like highlight,
Yeah.
But I want to watch it.
Yeah, I think they did like an hour-long show or something about
There's some
it.
quotes
Yeah,
from
I watched
Marcelo
for
in there
sure.
and all that stuff. I want to ask you, Andre, before I move on. You know,
Yeah.
I forget all the names there, but we had yourself, Lepre, was Cobrinha there?
Cobrinha, Lange, yeah, it was a
Lange.
pretty crazy room. Yeah.
Did you know at
Yeah.
that time, like, how special that group of athletes was? Was there a vibe in that room, like, we're all going to change the sport? Because that ended up kind of happening. Every one of you have made a really strong mark on jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Did you know then how special that room was?
Yeah, we knew that because I remember like I used to look around, like I used to see everyone, like even the purple belts, like the brown belts, and everyone used to be like such a great champion, right? Like they used to like murder everyone, like they when they compete, you know, like it was like no doubt that we when we showed up, when they showed up in the tournament, like we just like devastated like the bracket, you know, it was really special. And you know, seeing everyone like growing up, you know, in the sport and in life as well. And most of people that train there, if you see like all of us, we have family, we're married, you know, we have board titles, you know, like we have a great success, you know. And definitely looking back, like I knew there was something special, but I didn't know that was so special. You know, it was like more than special in my opinion, and it was a great feeling every time we finished the training. You know that feeling when you take the shower. JT knows that, like you take the shower and then you know like you breathing differently, like you feel like you train, like you feel like alive. You feel like, oh my God, thank God I did this hard training. You know, it was like that, and you know, like you had like everyone that plays different games, you know, different styles. Yeah, and it was special. It was amazing. And 7 of us used to leave with TDD.
Wow.
And everyone else used to like leave somewhere else, and we used to meet like before the competition, and sometimes they used to like drive 1 hour or an hour and a half just to be there and train.
What about you, JT? When you were younger, coming up on the East Coast, who were some people that you maybe based your game off of, or that really looked up to?
Man, I used to watch. I used to watch a lot of Leo Vera. I used to watch him a lot. I used to watch a lot of Professor Galvao. I used to watch a lot of Lucas Lech. I used to enjoy watching Lucas Lech compete. And then some of the American OGs before me were guys like Glover and Cooper. I used to watch a lot of, and Mike Fowler. I used to watch those guys a lot. And the reason why I started watching those guys a lot was because I used to go to the local tournaments, the Nagas and the Grapplers Quest, for those who remember those tournaments. And I used to see those guys competing live. And I remember, during those times when I was a white belt, blue belt, I've never seen a brown belt compete live in person, or even a black belt. And seeing those guys compete, I remember just being in awe. Like, whoa, man, those guys are so sick. Those guys are crazy. So those are a lot of the guys I used to watch in the beginning when I was coming up through the ranks.
You used to like did you used to play half guard like Lucas Leite? You said you used to watch like watching Lucas. Were you a half guard guy when you were younger?
Not a half guard guy. I just liked how he just always put that he always fought hard, man.
Yeah.
I thought like I liked his style. I just liked how he didn't care who he was competing against. I remember always seeing him shoot double legs and coming up on single legs from the half guard position. I'm like, man, this dude gets after it. I liked it because I used to wrestle as a kid, so he had sort of like a wrestling style of jiu-jitsu when he would compete, coming up on the singles a lot and the doubles. So that's why I liked watching him compete.
Man, what was the first experience watching Jeff Glover like? We're spoiled today. You can just pull up anyone's highlights and see unique styles, but Jeff Glover's got a crazy approach. That must have been kind of mind-blowing to see him for the first time.
Yeah, man, it was pretty wild. I remember watching him compete as a brown belt at Pan Am's, and he actually posted about this the other day on Instagram, and I remember watching it where he just submitted everybody as a brown belt. And his style was just it was so entertaining to watch, man. He was very creative when he competed. You can tell he was just out there doing crazy positions I've never seen before. So it was always exciting to watch him compete. He always put on a show, and you never knew what you were going to see, but you knew you were going to see something cool.
I remember when I watched Jeff for the first time. I came in 2004 to compete dance. And I remember like seeing this like blonde hair guy, like, small little guy, like competing in absolute. as a purple belt, I believe, a purple or brown belt, killing everyone. And back in the day, like we didn't have like social media and all that. I remember him on the DVDs from OTM. Like I
OTM.
used to see that, and then I saw a picture like Mike Fowler posted a picture of Jeff himself and another guy. It was him and Bill Cooper, I think. And those three guys are like the OG Americans, like it's when like I remember them like, oh, these guys like they're really good, And I remember like, of course, like their coach was Franginha, right? Franginha has amazing jiu-jitsu, great guy from Paragon Jiu-Jitsu. It was great to watch those guys back then.
So I wanted to get into talk with you guys about training with each other and what it's like. But first, Kyle, if you can cue up that first asset, this old what's it? Them training no-gi before ADCC or something.
Yeah, you guys should remember this. It's from the Inside Atos piece. I was rewatching that the other night ahead of this interview, and it just really, I think, sums up your guys' relationship really nicely. And yeah, it should be fun for you guys to watch. We're gonna play, and it should have audio, so we won't be able to hear each other for a moment.
Good job. Stay focused, man. Stay focused. Stay focused. Stay focused, man. My mind is on. Stay focused. This is the first round. You get better as the rounds go on. Stay focused. You know what you got to do? Stay in good position. Keep your head down. You're looking up too much. You want to see faster reaction. Faster reaction. You only have 90 seconds.
Think about too many things.
Don't think too much. You already know what you have to do. All this here is because you're the best in the world. Who gives you the will? Exactly. Let's go. Let's use the blessings he's given us and let's use it. Let's go. It's in you. You have it. Let's go. Another minute, guys. Another minute. We're getting better as the time goes on. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go! Again. Start again. Let's go. Right away. Right away. You got it. You got it. You got it. Stay on him. Stay on him. Yes. Beautiful. Again, back up. Let's go. Stay focused. They can't handle the pressure. They can't handle the pressure. Yes, yes. Beautiful, beautiful. 10 seconds left. We get better as the time goes on. We get stronger as the time goes on. That's why we're the best in the world.
There it is.
So that's something that's yeah. That's something that's always really interested me is what's the relationship like there? Because obviously JT was your student, but you used to sort of, when you were training for ADCC, sort of turn the reins over to him and let him be your coach a little bit, it seemed like, huh?
Yes. I believe the best that I can do for my black belts is to help them to become a teacher, help them to become a leader. And I believe JT is a great leader today, and he's doing a great job. And he knows how to communicate with people, and I appreciate that. And we had like such a great relationship since the beginning. We fought before, right, JT? We discussed a little bit, like we argue. It happens, right? Always in a good way, But everybody knows, like when I'm training, I'm super focused, And this video is from my super fight against Humble Bahal at Berkut in Russia. It was like right after GCC, I believe, like in 2015. And then I need to be ready for that tournament. And I was thinking about someone, and I say, you know what? I'll ask JT. And I did that in 2011 when I competed and won ADCC double gold. I stood off mine. He was a brown belt, and I told him, I say, Joe, can you help me to train and be ready for ADCC? He's like, yes, of course, Professor, let's do it. And then like I won double gold, So I believe that I believe in the teamwork. Nobody can achieve anything alone. You need people. You need the best people. You need to surround yourself, and you need to recognize those people. Like that can lift you up. And you see there, I had a bad day that day. I don't remember what I was thinking. Like I think it was the bills and everything that I need to pay or something, and I couldn't get focused like in the training. And then JT like put me back in place, and we finished the session like greatly. And I appreciate that, JT. I love you, and I appreciate your life. And without you, I achieve that goal.
I think that's something a lot of people wouldn't be able to put their ego aside like that and be like, I'm going to let somebody who's technically my student run this practice while I'm training. But I mean, it's probably important to have somebody holding you accountable, right? You've always been the head coach yourself, but when you got to get ready, you need somebody to take that role for you, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I think we might have lost Andre.
How I teach. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah,
a lot of people, they ask me, like, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So a lot of people, they ask me, like, oh, how do you do that? Like, how do you train now for family? How do you train your students, How do you learn? And, I learn from everyone. I learn from a blue belt. I learn from a purple belt. I don't care, I have an open mind, and I think that's the key for you to keep growing, And I always say that my first world title as a black belt was in 2005. My last world title as a black belt was 2019. There's like a 14 years gap. So if I was a guy that was like playing the same game like back in 2005, nowadays it wouldn't work, So I need like to feed myself with the best, and I believe my students, they are the best, and I encourage them to believe in themselves, and to get like the confidence. But JT, he did like some karate, and he knows how to communicate with people, like since he's little, he's doing martial arts, and that's why I chose him like to be one of the ones like to help me. But I had other students too that helped me before as well. So I think this is very, very important for you to go to the next level, to recognize that you need someone to help you, because you can't do anything by yourself, by your own.
JT, what kind of memories and feelings get brought up when you rewatch that clip? What brings you back there?
Oh man, it gets me fired up, man. It gets me fired up. Gets me wanting to get back on the mats, man, as quickly as possible. But it's good memories that come up as soon as I seen that clip. I remember during that time that was the same year where I had to pull out of ADCC 2015 because I had to have knee surgery. And I remember I was hobbling around the academy. That's something I made sure I did. I was still involved in the academy, even though I couldn't train, couldn't really do much. I was always going to the academy, still watching the practices and things like that. And I remember shortly after the ADCC that year is when they offered that super fight to Professor, and he accepted. And he asked me, "Hey, man, would you mind helping me run the camp, helping me run the practices and all that?" And I said, "Of course, man, absolutely, I would love to." And we did it, man. It was really cool. It was really cool for him to allow me to do that. I remember when he asked me, I felt super honored. I felt, wow, man, this guy, he's gonna trust me with his training. And we got the job done. He went out there and he got the victory in that super fight. But it was really cool. It was really cool. But it just that moment during that time, during that camp, I remember it kind of set into me where one of the goals I set for myself in the beginning was I always wanted to be a coach. I wanted to always have an academy of my own. And when we ran that camp, it let me know even further that this is what I want to do one day. I do want to be a coach one day. I want to be a full-time professor one day. And, I appreciate Professor Galvao for letting me do that, because it's just, he helped me further myself as an instructor, as a coach. So thank you, Professor. I appreciate that.
Did you feel any pressure being put in charge of running the training of the guy who was already, the reigning king of ADCC at that point, and you're like, okay, now I got to run this guy's practice?
No, not really, because he's really good. So
yeah.
So it's like being hired to be LeBron James' coach. It's like, all right, it's what I'm saying. So definitely I felt a little nervous, but I knew we were going to be fine though.
What was the meanest thing you made him do? The toughest training that you put him through?
Probably one of the shark tanks. I remember the shark tanks are always brutal, no matter who you are. The shark tanks, after a few rounds, you start getting tired, and the people keep coming in. They're fresh. So I remember there was a shark tank that we worked on, and he was getting really upset. And I remember he had like a bad round for like a few of the shark tanks. Like we did like a shark tank round. He had one bad round. I remember he was really upset, and then we calmed him down. We talked him back into getting focused. I remember he came back into the next round and just made everybody suffer. So we fired him up. That's when you fire up when you fire up Professor Galvao, you're in trouble, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's a dangerous game to play.
That's dangerous. You don't want to make that man upset.
What's it like training with each other, Andre? What's a round like sparring with JT Torres? What can you expect when you're gonna roll with JT?
Oh, it's a nightmare. You know? We're just like there, you know, and I know, man, like whoever's on bottom, like feel the pressure, you know? Like OJT, I feel like pressure. And I start feeling my legs like get burned, like burning out. And I believe like JT feel the same, you know, because I feel way better when I'm on top of him than when I'm on bottom. You know, so it's a nightmare. It's really hard, but we definitely always have great session, great training, and JT has amazing jiu-jitsu, and I always feel good like training with him. I remember like sometimes some Worlds camp we used to train like 2-3 rounds, you know, back to back. You know, we trained the first round and the last round, always the first and the last. You know,
you guys are both two people who always show up with just insane cardio. I can imagine those rounds are got to be pretty intense. You guys probably go pretty hard from start to finish.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I remember like this last ADCC we went to Las Vegas for Masters Worlds, and JT like, Professor, I want to train there with you. I think it was a bad idea. We trained. Oh my God, we trained so hard. It was like it's supposed to be just like a cool training, but man, we're like probably like 4 or 3 weeks before ADCC, right, GT, or something like that.
Yeah,
like I think 4 weeks before ADCC.
Yeah,
and we both like, you know, like when you're a competitor, you want to feel good, you know, you want to like feel that you're improving. Your mind is everything, right? And I remember like. We roll, man. We just went through a war like of half an hour, like just like slap each other, trying to take down each other. And the mats were like those like, you know, the tarpon mats, you know, like very slippery.
No,
and man, like it was crazy. But definitely like it's always great to have that feeling when you train with someone that pushes their cardio like that. You know, you feel really good when you finish the training, you know, because you know both of you are really in shape, you know, and JT always like, you know, the difference of JT is like his discipline. Has a lot of discipline. He trains every day. He show up on time, you know, he's there like to drill, and he's, you know, we both have kind of like the same work ethics, you know, on the mat, and that's why we become champions, you know. I think that's why, you know, no doubts.
JT, what's a round like with Andre Galvao?
Well, you know, it depends, right? It depends where we're at in the year, because there's 2 types of training, right? You can have a training session where you're having fun, moving around, things like that. But then there's training sessions within training camps, right? So I want to make that clear. There's two different types of training sessions, right? And I like rolling with Professor Galvao outside the training camps. Those rolls are fun, right? You know, he lets me get into positions. We trade positions back and forth. But during training camps, man, you know, of course, everyone's firing on high gear, and everyone's getting ready to compete at the biggest tournaments in the world. So it's not easy, man. It's not fun. I'll say that. It's not fun rolling with Professor Galvao during training camp, man. But if you roll with them outside of camp, maybe roll with them at a seminar or something, or during open mat, you'll have some fun, but not during a camp.
All right. I wasn't planning on going here, but we've got like literally 100 comments about this in the YouTube comments. So just to shut these people up, Andre, will you give your opinion on the Gordon Ryan super fight, just so everybody will stop asking us about it? It's literally 90% of the comments right now are about that. So
I know. Like,
yeah.
People like always wants to see this fight, right? So, you know, like I said before here, like I would fight, of course, yeah, why not? But it's all about negotiating, right? Because, you know, like I don't need that fight. You know, Gordo needs that fight more than me. You know, and I know the fans wants to see that. You know, today I'm 38 years old, right? But I believe like I still have the drive, you know, and right now my mind is focusing on the business and my family, you know, and when you are thinking about fighting, competing, Sometimes like you lose some time with like some of the things that you need to spend time, especially with the time that I need with my daughter and my wife and all that. So I'm this stage of of my life right now, in this part. The ADCC, I already say that would be my last fight, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like maybe we can talk we talk. I don't know. Like I don't know. Things can happen. Maybe I can fight. Maybe not. You know, I'm just like focusing my students right now. Right now with this coronavirus thing, like it's
Yeah.
insane. You know, like to stop it. Like, oh, okay, I'll do this and that. You know, so. But definitely, like the fans wants to see that. I know that, and I know a lot of people already give opinion about the fight. You know, people are giving opinion. Like some people like the Gordon's style, some people like my style. But definitely, like, is a fight that will will make like such impact in the community. I know that, but we'll see. I don't know. I don't know.
Jay-
I love to compete. JT knows that. JT knows that. I love to compete. I love to I love training. You know, when I'm training in a mission, like, I'm there. You know, I'm 100% focused. You know, that's why, like, when I say that I need to. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
got you. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I'm in the mission like that, I need to fight and all that. So I just like stop everything that I'm doing and just like stay there, you know. And I know like right now, Gordon is only doing that. He's just training. And I did that like 10 years ago, you know. 10 years ago, I was like that in that stage, at that phase of life that you just train, sleep, eat, train, you know. And right now, I have so many things, you know. I have so many things. And I already proved like that. I already proved to everyone that um, I am really good in Ogi, you know. I
Really good.
I think that's definitely you can't argue. Okay. JT,
So
you've led camps for Andre, and you were recently training with Gordon, or at least you saw what he was doing at the Modolfo camp and stuff like that. What advice would you give Andre, or what would you have him look out for? What are your thoughts on that matchup?
I mean, I think it would be a great matchup. Obviously, arguably the two best guys in the world. When it comes down to no-gi. So it would be a great matchup. Everyone wants to see that matchup. What I would tell to Professor Galvao is do what you do. Do what you do. Having trained with both of them. Obviously, I've trained more in depth with Professor Galvao, for years and years and years. But, I think he has a perfect game for Gordon's style. But, like I said, it's a great match, a match where, both fighters are super talented, right? But that's what I would say. I would just say, do what you do already. I think if you do what you do already, stick to your game. Like I said, I think your game is built for the ADCC style. That's the thing about Professor Galvao's games. That his game's built for that style, for that rule set. That's why he's been so successful years after years after years. It's crazy how long he's been unstoppable in that rule set, right? So just keep doing what you're doing.
JT, I think it's safe to say you're coming back for a three-peat, right?
For sure. Let's do it.
Yeah. One question in the YouTube comments a while back that I thought was pretty interesting. They want to know how you guys are so good at avoiding leg locks, because a lot of people who come from an IBJJF sort of background end up falling susceptible to that leg lock attacks in no-gi competitions, and you guys, basically indestructible there. You guys have fought some really good leg lockers, and you're always able to escape them. What do you think you guys do differently that you don't fall into that trap? Maybe Andre, go first.
I think it's our body type, and also like you need to use the brain. You need to use your mind. Like when the guy's like setting up things on you, you need to know what's happening. You cannot just watch and let him isolate your both legs. And if you watch our fights, like always, like we keep like one leg free all the time when the person is trying to attack us in the heel hooks or full locks or knee bars and things like that. So I think the key is to always avoid the opponent to trap your legs. So that way you can escape. That's what I did when I fought like Toquinho. And back in the day, the heel hook wasn't like that popular like nowadays. You know, it was like only Dean Leister and Toquinho like doing that and mastering the technique back then. But nowadays, everyone is like applying heel hooks and all that. And I say that to everyone when I start training jiu-jitsu with Coach Luis Carlos Aguimar at Careca. The first technique that he showed me was like a heel hook, like a knee reaping thing. You know, he said, "Look, you got to like be careful." As a white belt, and a lot of people like should you teach like a white belt how to do a heel hook? And I think you should, because that way the guy will understand like the mechanic of the technique, the leverage of the technique, and how bad it can be on your knee. You know, and sometimes people they get hurt because they don't know what's going on. So I think like that's the key. I think we do a really good job like just preventing and avoiding the opponent to control the legs.
JT, you've beat some really good leg lock. You beat Gary a couple times at ADCC. In 2017, you beat Gary and Lachlan, who obviously both have great heel hook attacks. Heel hook, some great guys. What do you think that you do differently than other people to stay out of those situations?
Just the way I control the hips. You know, I try to control the hips, not allow them to move too much, and then just where body placement, where to keep my limbs, where to put my pressure down on, when to put it down. So I think that's what helps me avoid those positions, right? Just one is feeling comfortable in the pocket, right? Because you see a lot of people, and what I mean by the pocket is like that HQ position where you're in the guard and they're playing their guard, right? You got to feel comfortable with your legs being near their legs. If you start panicking or start kicking out early on, that's usually how you get caught, in my opinion. So you got to feel comfortable in the pocket like a good quarterback, right? If you're in the pocket, I've been playing a lot of Madden, as you can tell. You don't panic. You find your wide receiver and you throw it. So same thing in jiu-jitsu. I feel comfortable there. You don't panic, and just knowing where to put your limbs. And the whole idea, for me at least, is to always force the legs to work away from one another, right? If I allow the legs to be together and work together, they can start lifting you with butterfly hooks and shooting one underneath and things like that, or reaping one over the top. It's so many different ways they can go about it. But basically, a quick little tip I'll give out there is always look to separate the legs away from one another. Have one leg going one way and the other one going the other way.
A question that I've seen in Facebook and YouTube comments, maybe Andre start this off. They want to know about your up-and-comers. Do you have any maybe people who haven't competed there yet that you think, or haven't won it yet that you think might become ADCC champs one day?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yes. I have a really good student here. He's very young. It's Andy. He's really good no-gi. Andy Murasaki. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that because he doesn't compete much no-gi. But during the ADCC camp, he was doing amazing. He has such a great guard. He has a really good guard. And I have other guys. We have, of course, like Michael Perez is really good, but he's already a black belt, right? We have blue belts. We have the Rutolo twins, right? No doubt.
Dude, those guys.
Man, they're killers.
They're coming for you, JT.
Yeah. I believe those guys will be 88 kilos. No doubt.
Yeah, I believe it.
They'll be 88 and above. They have such a long limbs. I tell them like they still have that like baby horse body, like they have like long limbs and small body.
Baby
they
horse
still like I call them Potrinho is baby horse. So, they're growing. They'll become like beasts, and for sure I have no doubt they'll win one day as well.
They can guard people from across the map.
Yeah, well, they got those big frames. They got those long arms and stuff. So I could see that really growing to be big for sure.
Yeah. I think they'll be like Jackson Souza's body type. I always tell them that. I say like you guys gonna be like Jackson Souza's body type, like long limbs, like strong, lean,
That's gonna
and
be
they
scary.
like, no professor, come. I told them that like when they were like 14 years old. They still want to be small. They want to be like lightweights, Yeah, they want to be lightweights. They want to be like featherweights. I say, man, you guys not gonna be lightweights and featherweights. Forget about it. And now they kind of, professor, that's true. Forget about it. I don't want to do diets anymore. I can't. And so yeah, they still growing, and they probably will be like heavyweights or middle heavy for sure.
That's gonna be a big problem for people.
Like,
Jackson Sousa-sized Rotolo twins is going to be a really big problem for people.
Oh yeah, they're already like, let's say they have more time on the mat than a lot of black belts.
Yeah,
you know,
I believe it.
So they start training like 3-4 years old, and they're like 17 right now, 18. You know, it's crazy. So they're not even like adults yet. They're gonna be adult like next year.
Ronaldo is somebody that comes to mind. Ronaldo.
Ronaldo,
yeah.
Ronaldo is like a great group here. You know, there's a lot of names that I can say here. You know, and sometimes like it's hard because you always forget someone because there's so many names. You know, we have like Kaina that came like, you know, like this year, you know, and last year actually, and won ADCC like ultra heavy, you know, and he was like a purple belt, and we always talk about him and became like a reality, you know. So it's the same with those guys that I mentioned here. And there's other guys too. I have Rafael Silveira, which he's amazing, amazing technique.
Who did he triangle at Euros? He had a crazy triangle.
He triangled Jansen at Euros.
That's right. That was a great match.
Really nice.
Yeah. He's great, man. Those guys they're really, really good. And who else? We have Damian Balderrama. Damian is amazing. Like great jiu-jitsu, you know, great jiu-jitsu. But he likes more gi than no gi. But we need just like to keep like playing to see that he's capable like to do both, you know. And that's the thing in my school here at Atos HQ or Atos in general. We fight both. We fight gi and no gi, you know. We fight the whole year, not just one thing. So I think like sometimes people they kind of like they need to like focus on both, you know. It's kind of like hard at this way, you know. But we still having great success even though we do like that. So we're really special here. Sure.
Something I really like picking people's brains about is mentally how people get ready for competition. I think the more I'm around guys like you guys, I realize that the mental side is so important because everybody's in shape. Everybody's really good at jiu-jitsu, but some people just mentally are on a level. They're just focused. I'd like to hear, like, what do you guys do mentally just to get on point for a competition? JT, what do you do to prepare to get your mind right when you're going to go compete?
Well, you know, I believe in preparing your mind to compete. You know, it's the beginning of the camp, the same way you would prepare your body. Let's say you start an 8-week camp, 2 months camp for a big tournament like ADCC. From the beginning of the camp, you should be working your mind too. And I'm a huge believer in that. Confidence is key for, you know, obviously, right? You need to be confident, and your confidence is going to come from the way you prepare. If you prepare the right way, you're going to feel confident, which, you know, you're going to feel physically ready, but your mind will also feel ready. It's like, I always give this example. Imagine you're a kid in school and you have a test coming up. If you go into school that day, you didn't study, you're going to feel, I'm not too sure about it. But if you study, you're going to be, you know, mentally ready to go for that test. So the same thing with jiu-jitsu, same thing for big tournaments. Hold yourself accountable to the training session. So, for example, you know, this past camp, I FaceTimed Professor Galvao. I sat down with my wrestling coach and I wrote out an entire training camp for this past ADCC, like a whole 8-week program. At the end of each, in detail too, like each session, detailed what each session would be for those 8 weeks. And on the piece of paper, I will always write, if I complete this session, I'm one step closer to becoming ADCC champion. So when you read things like that, you hold yourself accountable, because it's pretty easy to wake up one day and say, hey, I feel pretty sore today. I'm going to take it a little bit easier today. You can't do that. You got to follow the program. And when you follow the program, you're going to feel confident because you know you worked the hardest you could, and you know you're going to be prepared. You know you're going to be ready to leave it all out on the mats, and that's where the mind, you know, gets its confidence from. So confidence comes from the way you prepare for the tournament.
On the day of, is there anything particular you like to do? Is there like Bia Mosquito was telling us that she thinks about all the sacrifices, or is there any type of music you like to listen to? Like, what are you doing on the day of a tournament?
Oh, day of?
Yeah.
Day of the tournament, I'm just keeping it super relaxed until it's time to compete. Usually like an hour. I try to keep it super relaxed up until the hour I'm about to compete, and then I'll turn on the switch where I'll get really focused. And yeah, you know, I think back to my training camp. You know, I tell myself I'm prepared, I'm in shape, and that's one thing I like to do. I like to tell myself I'm in shape so I can go out there and fight the hardest I can fight. You know, because I think that's the biggest issue for some people. You'll hear people, oh, I lost. You know, I didn't fight as hard as I could, or I didn't want to push the pace too much because I knew I had to go into the next round if I won. I always tell myself I'm prepared, I'm ready to rock, so I'm going to leave it all on the mats. And that's why every match you guys see me compete in, I give it all I got every match. And I mean, that's usually what separates, the person who lost in the first round to the person, who won the whole tournament. You push that pace the whole way through. So yeah, I remind myself of how hard I work, and I think back to that training camp because, the training camps for a tournament like ADCC, as I'm sure Professor Galvao would agree with me, they're brutal, man. They're brutal. For anyone who's done a camp for ADCC, a proper camp for ADCC, it's a brutal camp to do. But I think back to it, and I tell myself, I'm going to make this person pay for making me go through all these training sessions, for all this suffering I went through. I'm going to make this person pay for that, and that's what I think to myself right before I compete.
JT, do you try and blow your lungs out? I feel like the warm-up is a very particular thing, and everyone has their own level of comfort, how much sweat they want to pour out before the match.
Yeah.
Do you blow your lungs out, or do you conserve all of your energy until it's time to go?
No, I like to get like a solid round before I go out there for that first match. I try to get a solid sweat going. To me, that's super important. I don't believe in going out there cold. Now, everyone has their own thing. Some people like going out there cold. Some people don't like warming up. But if you ask me, I'm going to tell you guys, I definitely want to get a good sweat. And if anyone's ever seen me in the back warming up for a super fight for an event, you guys see me probably going in for a full round with someone, with a training partner of mine or a coach of mine or a student of mine. So, yeah, I like to go out there with a full sweat going already so I feel warmed up. I don't want to warm up during the match, you know what I'm saying? I want to warm up before. So when I get out there, I feel like I'm ready to go. There's no coldness in the body, right? The body's warm and ready to rock.
Awesome. Andre, what about you? What's the week of a tournament, let's say ADC, look like for you? And then talk us through also your day of routine.
Yeah. The week of the tournament is the easiest one. A lot of athletes, they train really hard like 2 weeks prior the event, and I think that's not smart. Like they feel like, oh, I need to train like right now. The competition is coming. I need to feel good. I need to be ready, and you're too late. Like if you do that, you're not doing the right way. I see like sometimes like people, they say, oh, I start my camp for Masters Wars, and they started camp like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before the event. I don't think that's smart. So you need to do exactly what JT say, and then actually we do it here all the time. And me and JT, we have a great communication during ADCC, and actually like during the last two ADCCs, we always talk since we moved, and we put everything like planned. We see it, and we see like what we're gonna do. Day one and the last day, and the week of the event is a week that you need to enjoy yourself. You just gotta feel confident, and you need to feel happy at that moment. And then the training is like you need to be smart. That's like when you start tapering. Scientifically speaking, study says that 21 days, up to 21 days prior the competition is the time that you start like tapering. But a lot of people don't believe in that because it masters their mind. They feel like, oh, you know what? Like if I start slowing down my training right now, I will not be ready. I'm not training hard enough. But it's not, because you're training for like 2-3 months, or even maybe more, like 4 months. You're training, and then the last like 20 days, you gotta like just need to be smart, because if you get injured, you're done. And then the week of the event, I watch movies, things that I like, like I watch things like that makes me. I go to the movie theaters with my family, eat a great popcorn, if I don't need to cut weight, just relax, and listen great things, I just listen great things. I don't like to listen like crap music, I listen like things that will feed my brain, that will feed my thoughts, that will feed my body, and I just like keep like being positive, keep visualizing the event, and then like I say, the day of the week of the tournament is just like more relaxing, and prepare your body 100% your best, and the day of the event, I like to be surrounded of great people. I like to be surrounded of like my people, right? Like my students, my coach, Coach Fred. That's my wrestling coach. Is amazing coach. Is always there with me. So I like with him. I like to call my friends. Like for the last super fight, I call like Anderson Silva. He's like he knows how to put the energy, And JT Torres was there. I just like to be surrounded of people that make me feel good, and also like they're positive people. Like Josh Inger was there, Michael Perez was there. Kind of we laugh, a lot. Like right before the fight, we're like laughing, we're joking around. The time that they say you got US time, and then you warm up your body, and boom, and go. This is like for a super fight, right? But for a regular event, like just like if we go fight by fight, you don't think about the next round. A lot of people they fight the first round, and they think about the opponent. Oh, the guy winning. Oh, I'll fight the winner of that bracket. They pay attention who won, and they think about, if I win my fight, I'll fight that guy. You're already not in the fight. You're already done, And most of the time, when you think like that, you're not gonna even pass the guy that is supposed to win, So don't think about the next fight. Think about fight by fight, moment by moment, second by second. That's how I think, and that's how it works for me and work like all my career. I think like you need to have that click. Boom. Now he's like I cannot give any opportunity to my opponent. It's like boom. It's just you gotta be like you gotta change the mode. You just go for a beast mode, and that's what I do. And I think the training like gives you the confidence to win definitely. And you need to have fun. I'm not gonna lie. People say, go there, have fun, this and that. But sometimes like most of the times you have the adrenaline, because you pay the price. You put so much effort to conquer something. Then when you get there, you get so nervous. And then what I do, I just try to feed my thoughts with great things that make me happy. I start thinking about things like when my daughter was born, when I got married, my wife, when I met my wife, when we became world champions, when I won a world title, like I started feeding my thoughts like with my heart with great things that I start to feel happy. And once you're happy, like you just enjoy. You gotta enjoy what you do. You just gotta enjoy, and that's how I put my beast mode on. I just feed myself with great thoughts, and I feel that it's really important. And once you're happy, man, nobody can stop you. If you work really hard, and the day of the fight you're really happy, done. You win. That's how it works.
Andre, you said you like to watch movies to get your mind right on the week of a competition. Is there any favorite movies you go back to, or do you check out new ones?
Oh man, I watch Troy. I watch like
Nice.
Troy. I watch like Gladiator. I watch those movies like where like have like a fighter that fights for his life.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. That's what we do. Me and JT, like everything we have in life is through the fight. It's because of jiu-jitsu. And I think like you gotta think like that, and of course you gotta be human too, right? You cannot be like just like, hey, don't talk to me, this and that, don't be too focused, you gotta be like, you gotta know how to find the balance, and those are the moves that I watch. When I watch Troy, definitely like I'm like, man, this is such a great movie. I want to watch again, and
Yeah.
I watch like highlights of like great athletes like Michael Jordan. Like I watch like highlights of great fighters. I watch JT's highlight. I watch like Dean Lister highlight. I watch like great highlights and motivates me for sure.
You like Braveheart? You seen Braveheart?
Yeah, Braveheart. Yeah, Braveheart.
That's
I
a
like
great one.
Braveheart too.
Uh,
But
so-
Braveheart, is too old, and sometimes like the image is not nice. Yeah, I prefer like Troy.
So something I wanted to get into next about you guys, and you guys have won a lot of stuff. What's your favorite victory of your career? It doesn't have to be necessarily the biggest one, but which victory do you think meant the most to you? I'll let you go to first.
That's a really good question, man. Which victory? Obviously, my first ADCC title is probably number one in my book. That was a really special tournament for me. Considering everything surrounding that tournament, that's the first time I competed at such a big tournament while running my own academy. I remember getting the invitation for that tournament and not even having my academy open at that time. And I remember sitting there in front of the computer, looking at the email, saying, "Man, should I even accept this or not? Because my gym's not even open yet. I don't even know if I can even get a solid training camp in for this tournament." So I said, "You know what? I'm going to take it. I'm going to accept the invite and see what happens." And I went into that tournament with a brand new academy. A lot of stresses surrounding that. But I will say this: having the academy definitely motivated me to work even harder. And leading up to that point, I've always done pretty well in my competitive career, but I was always missing that big title, right? To solidify my career, in my opinion. So when I won that tournament, especially beating one of the best guys in the world in the finals, Lucas Lepre, was it was sweet, man. It was real sweet, man. So that's probably up there in my book as my favorite victory, my favorite moment of winning a title.
How about you, Andre? Is there anything that stands out? I mean, you've had so many big wins throughout your career. Is there any particular one that stands out that you look back on and you're the happiest with?
Yes. The first world title as a black belt was incredible. I remember it was like, but definitely like my last super fight, it was amazing. It was the day of my birthday. I have all my family there, right? Atos, all my friends. People flew from all over, like people that I met when I was like purple belt, brown belt. They were there watching, and it was definitely like a great feeling after conquering that title. I felt super grateful and happy at the same time for all the things that happened in my life until I get there. So coming from like a really poor family, and growing up and conquering like all the titles and fulfilling like the last word title just like that. It was amazing. And then after everyone like jumped in and grabbed me and started lifting me up and started celebrating, it was definitely like priceless. I definitely like felt amazing about that. And after, there's a lot of it's different feelings for each, but this one was it's very like how can I say, like young, it's just happened like last year.
Yeah.
But also like when
Fresh.
I won the ADCC Absolute against Pablo Popovich, all the finals that I won via submission, like Braulio Stima, when I competed with him with the gi in 2008, when I finished Braulio there, when I finished Popovich in the finals of the open class, definitely like it really like makes you like you're just like yes, I won, but I did what I did the best, I finished the fight, so but definitely like sometimes like it doesn't happen that way, but even though like the moment is special, the moment is special, and
For sure.
the way that I fought was incredible too. So I'm really proud of myself, for that, but also like really thankful for all the people that helped me, and they were there like supporting me the whole time. So it was incredible. Day of the birthday too.
Had to make it
you
better
know?
that it was in Southern California, right? Because all of your friends and family were there.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone was there. All my students were there. It was incredible.
So lately we've been doing a routine where like the people, whoever's on the show the day before gives a question to the people on the next day. So yesterday we had Buchecha and Pergisa were here. So we got a question from Buchecha for Andre, and then Pergisa had a question for JT. If you want to roll that clip, Kyle, then you guys can.
Okay, I got one for Galvão.
Yeah.
Of course, like we said before, Galvão is one of the guys that I grew up like when I started jiu-jitsu watching. And I remember last time I fought him, I said that I always was a big fan, and to fight him was like a big pleasure for me. And I lost to him before, then I beat him one time, so was always a tough guy. and always fan of his style. And for me, in my opinion, he's the most accomplished, the guy that won like I think most accomplishments for no gi. I think my opinion, he's like the best no gi fighter. Like, and what's keep making him like to keep himself motivated after so many years? Because I remember when we were like me, Preguiça, we were like young, and he's still like grinding. You know, of course, I always want to fight him. No gi, but man, I never really like earned a spot. You know what I mean? But but what keeping him motivated? You know, I mean, after so many years competing and winning so many titles, because that's for me is the hardest part to keep myself motivated. That's what's my question for him.
It's a great one. It's a great question. I'll be interested
Yeah,
in what
that's
you're going to
awesome.
say. Felipe, you think of anything to SJT Torres?
Yes.
What's his favorite
JT,
meal?
how many? Huh? How his favorite food? Oh my god.
What's your question?
How many times JT won the DCC? He won
Two
a few,
times.
right?
Two-time
times.
champion, yeah.
I would like to ask him. I see JT has a really good wrestling, you know, for ADCC. I would like to ask him how he thinks is important wrestling for ADCC. If he think there is another thing more important, and how he prepare, how many times he train wrestling week, if he train separate, how is his schedule for IDCC camp?
Awesome. All right, so the questions were, Bucec's one was really interesting because he had just got done telling us that that's sort of something he's struggling with, is like whether he's motivated to compete. So Bucec's question is, you, somebody who's been doing it longer than him, how do you keep staying motivated to compete? And then Preguiça was for JT about how important you think wrestling is for ADCC and how often you train it to get ready for ADCC. If you want to go first, maybe Andre.
Yes, for sure. First of all, I thank Buchecha for the question, and also like congrats him for all the titles. And I remember when we fought, like, was always crazy fight. I always say Buchecha is like that like crazy horse that you can. It's hard to dominate, you know. Like it's really fast. It's really hard to dominate, and like he's amazing. And he say like, for me, it's really hard to keep motivated, but he won like 13 times, you know. Like, you know. But I understand like his question. Yeah, definitely like. You know, like I say, my first world title 2005, last world title 2019. That's a gap of like 14 years, and every time that I compete, I'm always motivated and I'm always happy, because I think that the key is the love for what you do. You know, I really love to fight. I really love jiu-jitsu. I really love what I do. You know, I love my work. I love teach people. And I think the key of everything is the motivation cannot be money, cannot be like a woman, it cannot be like, you know, things like that. I think or things, you know, I'm motivated. I need to win this term because I win a car. If I win this term, I win a car, or I win this cash prize. No, your motivation must be like your love. You know, your motivation must be the love for the fight, the love for your work. You know, and if you really like to pass through all the process of feeling sore, like, you know, the process of like learning, the process of like feeling the progress, like you always like improving, you know, I think that's the key, and that's what keeps me motivated. You know, I believe like every time that I set my mind to compete, I don't compete like for the prize or anything like that, or for the title. I compete because I really love what I do. I really like what I do, you know. And this needs to start like in the day that you train. You know, a lot of people, they love to compete, but they don't like to train. And a lot of people like to train or love to train, but they don't like to compete. You must love both. You know, if you love what you do, I think that's the key. And I try to motivate myself every single day, just like looking back. You know, when I look, the only time that I look back is to remember the hard times that I had in my life, and I feel like grateful that every time that I put out the work in the right way, I conquer. So that motivates me. So you need to keep like growing. You need to find a way to keep motivated. And a lot of people, they lose that. Once you achieve the award title, once you achieve like that spot, you feel like, oh, I'm already here. And a lot of people be surrounding you also when you become a champion, because people love champion. They like to be around the champions, and they're gonna slap your back and say, oh, you are the man, you're this or that. They start feeding you, saying like, oh no, this guy is not gonna handle you way better than him. Like, don't worry, you're gonna kill him, like. But you need to like be careful with those like that surround you. I'm not saying that those who say that to you, they're wrong. They're not. But sometimes those type of conversation makes you more relaxed and makes you like kind of like, oh, you know what, like, yes, let me instead of training today, I'll rest or do this or that. I'll kill him. No, I don't think this is the right way. You gotta think that you must be there and do your best and give your 100%, everything or nothing. So if you can't do that, it's hard to go out there and win. So I think that's my motivation, the love for what you do, and be careful with those who surround you, especially after you conquer a special title. So it's really, really, really careful with that. So just like surround yourself with great people, those will feed you in a way that will motivate you, and also they'll call your attention. Like, my best coach is my wife. She always like put me back on track. Hey, go back here, look. The guy there is training. So you gotta like, I say, okay, yes, I forgot about that. Sometimes you lose the focus, but I think like you gotta like be aware with all that. Keep like always like aiming the target and stay motivated, especially with the love for what you do.
I think that's sound advice that everyone can make use of. You got to love what you do and have the right people around you. JT, let's talk a little bit about wrestling. It's come up a few times in our talks, but I thought it was really cool to see an ADCC champ ask another ADCC champ for advice. That's pretty awesome. I love it.
Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So as far as wrestling, to me, wrestling is the secret weapon to winning ADCC, man. I think it will allow you to bring the match to where you want to bring it, right? If you want to play off your back, if you want to play on top, if you have good takedowns, you can decide where to put the match. So to me, it's the key. It's the key to winning that tournament, especially with the rule set where there's certain parts of the matches where you can't pull guard, right? You're forced to work from your feet. And, once you learn takedowns are great for obviously taking your partner down, but they can also be used to help you transition to the back or even into submissions and things like that. So to me, it's key. You have to learn takedowns in order to be successful in ADCC or have a solid chance. And I'm sure there's been people who have won without takedowns, right? But I think more often than not, you're going to see people who win are going to have some takedowns involved in their game. Now, as far as training, I'm always, every day that I'm training for the ADCC tournament, there's wrestling involved, right? Whether it would be specific positions where you start off in double legs, single legs, things like that, and begin the training from there, like specific sparring. But then there'll also be days where once or twice a week where I'll meet up with my wrestling coach and we'll just work an hour of just drilling takedowns, right? Drilling takedowns, but also drilling takedowns that lead to the back take or drilling takedowns that lead to some sort of submission like a guillotine or Kimuras, things like that. So once, twice a week, I'm definitely just drilling wrestling itself. And then, every day during the training, wrestling's built into the training. Like I said, an example of that is specific sparring. Another example of that, there's certain days where during the camp, the first 5 rounds of the training session, there's no guard pulling allowed or only takedowns, right? We'll do rounds of only takedowns where you're forced to wrestle and play with the takedown game. So I'm constantly working throughout the entire camp. Every day I'm working on takedowns, but once or twice a week is when I really hone in just on the takedowns itself. But every day I'm working on the wrestling, man. And wrestling is key to winning ADCC.
Speaking of takedowns, you guys have two of the best takedown games in the grappling world. Who wins the takedown battle when you guys go head to head from the feet? How does that go down?
Imagine trying to take somebody down that has unbelievable balance, man. You know, and anyone from the Atos camp or anyone who's ever tried to take down Professor Galvao will tell you the same thing, man. It is brutal trying to take that guy down, man. It's just tiring, man. It is tiring because you'll pick that leg up and you'll try to finish it, and then the guy won't go down. You're like, you know, it's just crazy, man. So, you know, Professor Galvao has some high-level wrestling, man. I've seen him take down some solid wrestlers who come into the training camp to help us practice and get ready for ADCC. I've seen him take down some really good wrestlers. So Professor Galvao's wrestling is, you know, it's on a different level, man.
Is he being modest, or does he ever get you, Andre?
JT has incredible wrestling too. His ankle kicks are sick. But yeah, so I'm a little heavier too than JT, you know, so it helps a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely, like, it's a great match to watch. You know, it's a great match to watch. It's always fun.
Tomorrow we have a guest that we're super excited for. Big O, Orlando Sanchez, is our guest tomorrow. So very hilarious guy. If one of you guys wants to come up with some sort of question to ask Orlando when he comes on tomorrow.
You have a question, JT? Maybe I have a question. Let me see. Orlando, man. He's a funny
I'm looking
guy.
forward to Big O, man.
Yeah.
We're going to hear some wild stories.
I want to watch that. I want to watch that.
Maybe we'll let you guys do your little shout out to the fans, and then you can think about it, and then at the end, one of you guys come up with something to ask them. Maybe Andre, if you want to kick out with a shout out to your fans out there, a message to everybody.
Yeah, so I would like to thank all you guys from FloGrappling, and also all the fans that's watching right there. Everyone that loves me to compete or hate me to is watching me competing. I send my hug and hello to all you guys, right? So I'm just very thankful for all you guys, you know, definitely, and I couldn't achieve anything without you guys, you know, of course, because you guys are the FloGrappling is part of the media, but the fans those are the ones that boost you up, to be out there and then be ready to go, right? So I would like to also thank all my students for all the love and all the support that they're giving to me right now at this moment. You know, that's a really tough moment right now in the world. I really feel blessed, of having all those people supporting, giving the support and always calling and see what's up with the gym and all that. So I appreciate that. You guys are amazing. Definitely, I have the best students in the world for sure, and I'm here working and doing my best for all my students, but also for all the fans and everyone that from the community, also outside of the community. I just released a self-defense a program with Professor Yakovazi, and I believe that will help people to protect themselves during dangerous times, you know. So I think it's key to know jiu-jitsu to give you confidence and give you more patience during this moment. You know, if something happened, you're ready, right? So you must be ready. So I think the help of helping the community will definitely be key at this moment right now. We all united, you know. It doesn't matter which team we represent. We all represent the jiu-jitsu, right? We represent jiu-jitsu, and we want to give our best to our sport. So I'm really pumped for the time that we come back and then we all on the mats, you know, helping each other and hugging each other and trying to choke each other, because definitely this is a great feeling, and it's amazing to train jiu-jitsu and right now this time we're just thinking, man, what's gonna be how it's gonna be. I can't wait to see the first tournament, the first international, the first worlds, let's say ADCC or worlds. I can't wait to see that and see everybody fighting again and chanting and just it's gonna be a beautiful thing. I can't wait for that moment, and I hope to be with you guys pretty soon. Love you guys. Take care. God bless us.
Thanks, Andre. Great message there.
JT.
Well, first of all, thanks to you guys, the entire FloGrappling team for, doing what you guys are doing. You guys are putting a lot of content out there right now and, releasing a lot of cool footage and documentaries and things like that to keep the community engaged and, have something to watch and something to do. So I appreciate you guys. And, going back to what I said earlier about studying footage, you guys have one of the best libraries to study from. So appreciate you guys.
JT. Thank you.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true. It really is true. I wish you guys were around when I was a blue belt, But I want to thank my students, my family for, being supportive during these times. Huge shout out to the students. Everyone's staying engaged. Like I said, I'm running classes for them a few times during the week, and it's cool to see all the students communicating with one another still and, making sure they keep each other's spirits up high and my spirits up high too. So thank you to all my students and my family. And thank you to all my fans out there. Thanks to everyone out there who supports me and has nothing but love for me. I appreciate you guys big time. Like Professor Galvao said, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here doing what we're doing today and having these opportunities. So thank you to the entire community. And, hopefully we'll pass through these times pretty soon and we can all share their mats again together.
All right, JT, I'm going to put you on the spot here because Professor Galvao's got rank. You got to come up with the Orlando Sanchez question for tomorrow. Ask him anything. Ask him why he only does ADCC and no other tournaments. Ask him whatever you want.
Okay, I'll ask him how's his diet? Okay,
all right.
Because if he's a paleo or if he's a vegan or
I don't think he's vegan.
and how come he's probably the heaviest heavyweight in the ADCC, but he's so athletic. I want to know if you got that athleticism from jiu-jitsu, and also he became such a high level competitor in a short time. So I want to ask him what is his diet? I'll ask more than one question. What is his diet? Okay, if how he got the athleticism that he has, and why he compete only ADCC. That's it.
All right, great questions. Guys, we got some great shows coming up tomorrow. Like we said, it's Orlando. Next week, Gabby Garcia. Tuesday is Craig Jones. Wednesday is Drysdale. Thursday is one I'm super excited for. It's Waleed Ismail. That's going to be a crazy show. And then Friday is Lovato. So great lineup next week. Thanks again for calling in, guys. See everybody tomorrow.
Later, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All righty, we're off the air. Thanks, fellas. Had a great time.
Thanks.